Good evening and welcome to another edition of Resource PNG. Tonight we feature two documentaries. First, we see the graduation ceremony of Esso Highland's second batch of LNG plant technicians who go to Malaysia for further training at Malaysia's Petronas Institute. Later on this show, we'll see how Dome KRB technology is changing the lives of Papua New Guineans by giving them access to clean water, a necessity that is almost non-existent in most rural parts of PNG.
Earlier in 2013, 77 students graduated from their first module of their training in Port Moresby. These 77 spent a whole year learning the foundations of their respective areas of speciality, preparing for the next part of their training at an LNG site. For these young men and women, they will be spending most of 2013 in Malaysia. They will be at the Petronas Training Centre in Terengganu, a state in the northwest of the country near the Malaysian-Thai border.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to Her Excellency Datin Seri Blanche Albury, the Malaysian High Commissioner to Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. She became the first ever female Malaysian High Commissioner to Papua New Guinea and presented her credentials to the Governor-General Sipalius Matane in August 2009. Her Excellency kindly accepted the invitation to join us this evening and to speak with you briefly as she set off for Malaysia. So please welcome Her Excellency.
To all the family members, rest assured, Malaysia is very similar to Papua New Guinea. You are going to a second home, I can say for sure, because we share the same climate, we share the food, dressing, almost the same. Your dressing and ours is, we wear more covered than you, so you are free to dress up as you can, and it's a warm place. The climate is the same. Warm and rains, lots of rain, and you are going to a place, Kuala Terengganu, which is the east coast. It lies next to the state called Kelantan, and Kelantan is actually bordering Thailand from the southern part of Thailand. So you're very close to the north east of Malaysia. It has got dazzling waterfalls, flora, fauna, exotic species and other natural wonders, just very similar to Papua New Guinea. To tell you the truth, Terengganu is my favorite state among all the 13 states that we have in Malaysia.
And it seems food will not be a problem.
The food there is, needless to say, I'm sure you would have tried the Malaysian restaurants here. So the Instab has got a fantastic cafeteria and all the facilities there. So we have the cow as well there. You can the taro and everything, we have it there. So I'm sure you can cook it your way. Maybe mumu, something like that. You can do it with the bananas. We have lots of bananas there.
Malaysia is a recognized oil-producing nation. In 2010, Malaysia was named the third largest exporter of LNG after Qatar and Indonesia, accounting for 10% of total world LNG exports.
As far as the Malaysian High Commission, the Malaysian government is concerned, we are very, very proud and we are very honored that you have chosen Petronas Institute. Petronas is one of the leading companies in the gas and oil sector. You know about Petronas, you would have heard of the Twin Towers, the tallest Twin Towers in the world. We have it there.
Their state-owned company, Petronas, dominates the petroleum scene in Malaysia and operates 3 of the country's 7 major refineries. The company has the biggest interest in the largest LNG complex in the world in Sarawak, which has 8 production trains. Malaysia has a lot to offer in terms of training, and these young Papua New Guineans are looking forward to it.
My name is Shelley Com. I am 20 years old, and I'm from the Western Highlands province. I was at University of Technology. I took up electrical engineering. Going there, I'll be training as an electrical technician, so I hope to, in as much as I can as an electrical technician, and come back and be successful on the field.
My name is Andrew Duna and I'm 25 years old. Never studied before in another country, so this would be another good aspect to broaden my mind, and I expect to come back with the skills I'm going to learn during the Advanced Skills Training Program in Malaysia and work for the plant up at the Heights.
Before joining the program, I was studying at the PNG University of Technology. I was taking up applied physics with instrumentation and in electronics. Since I'll be traveling over and doing my training overseas, I'm looking forward to gain as much skills and knowledge and be competent within the country and as well as in the world when I return.
Okay, my name is Sarah Nickens and I'm 22 years of age. It's kind of exciting because I haven't been to Malaysia, and what I expect from bringing back home from Malaysia would be learning to the best of my abilities and learning as much as I can, and from the specific trade because I'm taking electrical, so I would like to learn more.
This is Esso Highlands' second batch of LNG plant technicians. The first lot were trained in Canada. The Esso Highlands motto of one project, one team, was clearly seen in the camaraderie of the graduates, and the trip will not only be a learning opportunity, but an eye-opener too.
It's a fantastic opportunity, isn't it? For you to have to develop your technical skills, but not just the technical skills, also to broaden your perspectives on the world with experience of another rich culture.
We'll be back with more of the LNG graduation ceremony after the break. Welcome back. We continue with the documentary showcasing the graduation of 77 LNG plant technicians.
The LNG plant trainee technicians learned a great deal during their one-year course in Port Moresby.
I hope by now our family members, loved ones here with us tonight realize something. That every time we go for break, we tend to knock on every door in the house before entering. And I bet we never had this time last year. We are now more safety conscious than ever before. And for this great organization, safety is no exception. As the next stanza in the credo says, no business objective is so important that it will be pursued at the sacrifice of safety.
Team building, mentoring, and safety were on top of the list.
For someone doing business with him, he is the production's operations training center manager and principal. But to the POTC family, he just goes by Frank. Frank McPhee, our wonderful guardian, mentor, comforter, and friend. You know, a family is not complete without a mother. And it wasn't until Valerie showed up that we realized how fortunate we were to have 2 lovely people to call our parents at POTC. And we are so happy and thankful that we will still have you both with us in Malaysia.
The trainees believe that what they have been taught so far has set a good foundation for each of them.
Okay, before I joined the training program, I was at the University of Papua New Guinea doing my foundation year, but then I didn't get to complete it, and I went as an intern with SO Islands. The most core thing that I've learned is safety, taking safety as a value, and that was like from the whole year around, and the BST program, like what we've learned from refreshing high school programs, courses and all that, and the BST, the basic skills, the one that we just graduated from.
I've gained the safety culture, especially with the program. ExxonMobil emphasizes that, and it's a big corporation, and it's interesting to work with a different multicultural group of people. It has broadened my aspects on view of the world, so it's a good place to start, yeah, and the opportunities are immense and vast. Yeah.
Leadership qualities. I've built up my confidence, and also I've learned about safety and how to work in a hazardous environment.
Most of what I'd say is I've got a more basic understanding of how the oil and gas industry works.
At the LNG site outside Port Moresby, the processing there is to cool the gas to form liquid natural gas. That liquid will have to be monitored and kept cool, ready for export. The trainees recreated a model of the LNG storage facility to demonstrate its function.
This model is a similar concept to what the LNG storage, the LNG tanks at the LNG plant site will be doing. Follow a similar concept. So Jeremy will go through the operational process.
As you can see, our trees are pretty banged up on the road here. So, yeah, falling off. So, yeah, this little model is, you know, like we've been singing and dancing up here, so we don't want to give you the impression that that's all we do. We do some work. So, there's 2 tanks. In the plant site, what we usually do, what we are learning about is to monitor and control process variables like level, temperature, and stuff like that. So what this model does is it controls the level of these 2 tanks. So the pump down there will pump fluid into this one, and it will go up to a certain level, and then when it reaches that level, the pump will stop and it'll drain back, and it just keeps on doing that. So that's just a simple simulation that we did. We also did a DCS, small mini DCS system that's at the back. It was pretty. DCS is it's not really DCS. It's a very small program that really shows what's going on there, but. It's like the software that controls the hardware, or it shows you information about the hardware. Okay, now as you can see, since this is the low level, since it's low level, it's gonna pump the fluid from that side to this side, so the pump is on. So once the level reaches the high level, it'll switch the pump off and it'll gradually drain back. So yeah, that's basically it. So we had to color the liquid, so we bought cordial. We just ran down to the J-Mart and bought it.
The 77 will return early in 2014, ready to take on the task of operating PNG's first LNG plant.
I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you on your achievements to date and encourage you to make the most of the opportunities that you'll have put in front of you in Malaysia.
With the decision taken by SO Highlands, is a clear testament to the desire of one project, one team, focus on the fundamentals, or one Pella project, one Pella team, look long, and ting belong project. The knowledge that you gain and benefit is not only for the PNG LNG sector in its future operation, but is also a value add to Papua New Guinea's human capital development, as all of you are the future generation of this country, and this country needs you, and you will drive this country forward in future, I'm sure. With that note, I wish you a safe and enjoyable stay in Malaysia, and selamat jalan. Thank you very much.
We'll have more when we return. DOM KRB technology has been operating for some time in PNG. But just what are they doing that could change the lives of Papua New Guineans with no access to clean water? Let's find out how.
Access to better water services have not improved according to statistics from the World Bank's Little Data Book of 2010. Data from 2000 to 2010 shows not major significant increase in services delivered to the rural community. It is more stagnant than anything else. Again, land issues, a very significant and sensitive matter, is still a cause of debate. PNG may be at the brink of solving both these problems with the introduction of a very innovative product, a machine that can filter murky, filthy water into a quality, drinkable product that is rated above bottled water. This is from a company called DOM KRB, which makes a filtration machine called the Cube. Recently in Lea Lea village, just minutes outside of Port Moresby, will be the first place in PNG to test this machine. This place was selected because the landowner groups had properly registered their land, which means land disputes will not result in people losing out on getting clean drinking water.
We had a connection here and we knew that the PNG resources were abundant and Exxon were being involved, which meant that the beautiful thing about this country, although people claim it to be a developing nation, and in a lot of ways it is, it has more hope than I think any other nation on the planet currently. It has the ability to change the way people live in the next generation, within the next 20 years. People may not believe that after all that they've experienced, but the resources are here, the money is here, and the capacity is available. It just takes companies like DOM KRB to be on the ground to enable that capacity to be accessed. I can see how in recent years companies have come in from overseas, often with their own plans developed in Canberra, Washington, wherever, and it doesn't work with the people. It doesn't work with the way of life here in Papua New Guinea. And they fail and waste a lot of money doing so. So we knew to be successful we had to come here, learn the culture, learn what people need, and then work out the best way to implement it. And for example, power, that's easily said, but how do you get power to remote areas in a country that's so rugged as this one? Solar is the obvious option, and mobile solar, hence the Cube technology and what it spawned from there.
Like many other villages in PNG, Lea Lea does not have continuous access to safe drinking water. It is not as easy as opening up a tap. It is a daily chore, which mostly women and children have to bear by walking to a well every day to fetch water for their family needs. For most Papua New Guineans, this is an everyday task that is done without complaints and never challenged. One of the many goals that this country has is to make safe drinking water accessible to all. So while PNG has lots of places to collect fresh water, the quality of water is questionable.
The chiefs, as responsible people, they will be in charge of maintaining the...
While visiting PNG during a business visit, Mr. Cooper came up with the idea of creating a filtering system when he saw how children kept visiting the well daily to fetch water. With the Cube, which can produce up to 20,000 litres of water per day, such a chore will be unnecessary. and the water supply in theory will be endless because they will be using water from the ocean. The machine will be set on a hilltop within the village, so seawater will be pumped into the instrument to be filtered and then gravity drained to a collection point for the village.
So there's a lot of opportunity here that will stem from the initial implementation of the cubes. It's not just going to be about water and food storage. It's about the effects on urbanisation. It's about the effects, reducing the effects, as MEX-CAP, the Urbanisation Department, consistently points out within this country. The land registration through the NRI, these are vital issues that we must take on board.
Lea Lea has an average population of 5,000 men, women and children who currently depend on bore wells for their water.
At the moment we only have Dome KRB, whom you are aware now, that they came to me, or they came to Lea Lea in 2011. They came here on a visit to help us with the
registration.
Environment barriers. That was their aim. Then after, they made several visits, 2011 and 2012. They learned that Lea Lea people needs water. So then they switch over to water as their first project, pilot project, to help us. Now they are here, as you can see them, and we all together try to bring this project into reality.
We have been carrying water about 2 kilometers from here to the foothills of those mountains around there. And that has been ongoing. It's just recently that we have this dugout wells that you've seen throughout the village today. That has helped, but that's not drinkable. It is only used for washing and also for laundry. We did have a water supply from the Laloki River down north. That took us only several years before the whole project was disused.
More about this interesting technology when we return. As we've seen earlier, the Cube is an innovative machine that can filter murky, filthy water into a quality, drinkable, clean product rated above bottled water. And it is the people of Lea Lea village in the Central Province who will be the first to enjoy this water filtration device. We now find out how NRI has assisted Dome KRB with the implementation of Cube technology.
The NRI has been very proactive with Dome KRB from the arrival of our country on two fronts. Initially, we came up with a village model as we saw that one of the issues in this country was customary land. With 97% of this country locked in customary land, the only true way from an economic standpoint is to increase the investment. And to increase investment overseas especially requires the legal recording of land. Investors won't come in and buy cattle farms or set up business if they know their land can't be secured. That process then led me to understand the laws and a lot of reading, etc. And we came up with a village model. We presented it to the NRI, and since that time they've worked very closely with us to basically, Dome KRB is now one of the first endorsed companies to act as an intermediary for the new customary land registration under the new legislation of 2009. That process, of course, the goals in a nutshell is the process is to create an ILG under the new legislation, then identify the customary land, the undisputed areas, have it registered in a formal manner through GIS and mapping systems that our company performs, and then have it planned so that growth can be controlled, and then it's handed over to the Valuer General or the Surveyor General to complete their processes, starting the whole process of customary land registration. How that ties into what we've been doing is even the implementation of Cube technology, for example, something as small as that. If it's not done on land that's accepted, registered, or some sort of state land, then it becomes in dispute. and then the whole product of supplying water and food and these wonderful services could fall into the hands of dispute, be destroyed or not maintained. And that would just be the opposite of what we're trying to achieve.
So water is a problem, and an ongoing problem here in this village. Because we wanted to develop here in the community, we wanted to have water every day in the village. We don't have water that is supplied to our doorsteps. We have water that is just a well water that is in our village. And this well water help us with our daily routines.
These days, the villagers have to take a 2-hour walk to the nearest drinkable well or else pay for water to be carted in. Water carts can cost about 300 kina per trip.
When it is dry season, it dries up. And the ladies or the water carriers has to go down there, stay there, wait for it to have a new flow water. But sometimes they can't make it. So they have to come back empty-handed. Well, normally one truck cutter, water cutter truck is charging us 300 kina per water cutter. If we have the money, we request them to come and give us water, then we buy the water cutter.
The processor enables us to implement this cube because they have organised their land and there aren't disputes about the land, so it's vital. But you must understand that in 50 years from now, this may just be another suburb of Port Moresby. And so if it isn't organised and registered and recorded, what will happen? Just massive squatter settlements and disorganisation.
Incorporating ILZ and then to the extent of registering customer land, the basis upon which the development that we are talking about will proceed.
Investors and businesses need a very solid foundation when it comes to running a company. Land disputes are a hurdle to such progress. Each machine will cost between 70 and 140,000 kina, depending on the type of water source and location. The water source determines the type of filters required, and location covers the logistics of taking a machine out to site.
The difference there being, of course, that the cube's cost basis is less than a 4-wheel drive. We can produce a litre of water for half a toya, and I can only challenge any politician to tell me what the price of a dying child is, because as far as I'm concerned, we developed this to come and help the people here, and it's, you know, to implement something at this level of technology for less than the cost of a Land Cruiser 4-wheel drive, there should be no argument with price. The funding in this country is more than available.
Welcome back. Dome KRB technology has seen through implementation of the cube. However, it's a sustainability and long-term support and maintenance that will have to be consistent. We find out how the company wants to enhance telecommunications to enhance the cube technology.
This particular project is welcomed by Lea and is supported by the Ministry of Forest and Climate Change at a cost of 100,000 kina.
Water has been a real problem, and they have been doing this. Before even going to school, they carry water or fetch water, put them in their kitchen to help their parents, mothers, and before they go to school. But then now, with this project that is going to be in reality, I think this will really help them. The promise is that they will maintain this until to the next generation.
Well, we will be working very closely with the Dome KRB initiative on water today. We will assist them by maintaining the facilities, and also where required financially.
Implementation is all well and good, but the company wants to ensure that there is sustainability and long-term support for the machine, so maintenance will have to be constant.
We hope to work with Digicel, because obviously they're very proactive. If we can supply satellite to all the areas in this, or some communications to all the areas in this country, we can then utilise technology we have in the cubes in America, whereby a bush nurse can go on a computer and talk to a doctor, not just in Port Moresby, it could be in New York, and say, I have this patient and these are the symptoms, what do I do? And you imagine the ability to increase administration of medicine when you can access doctors to that level. And all that requires is Digicel and the federal government working, or national government working with Dome KRB to enhance this technology. But right now, just for the charging of cell phones, even a text could alert someone to a situation. For example, on the Fly River, where children are suffering greatly from the problems of the water, and no one knows about it. So how can treatment get there? They can't walk out, they can't contact people. But with a phone through the cubes, it can be done. You can revolutionise the way these remote areas are accessed and the way people live in them.
For Lea Lea, the cube is a relief. In the past, they had a water supply, but that has long since been broken down due to lack of maintenance.
So yes, basically it is the women and the children who are the ones who normally carry the water for their basic needs daily. With this program or this project, it will surely alleviate their hardship, meaning that water will be closer to the houses, and maybe even into the houses for those who can afford connection into the to the supply. And the children will be, children will benefit from the homeworks that they have to do, especially the education.
As I mentioned before, the climate change department, through Minister Pruach and Mr. Vari Badira, the executive, have offered to fund this and have begun to do so. So we are very, very grateful, and they are owed a great level of thanks for their proactiveness and a leadership in this country to show that this sort of technology can help change not only the way of life, but save lives.
The company believes that this product will go a long way in helping the country meet its medium-term development goal of making fresh drinking water available to all Papua New Guineans.
Through the Cube technology, we provide the ability to provide clean water, food storage, medical storage and basic power. Those four elements are most vital in almost to human life, and they fail to exist in so many locations in this country. That process alone provides betterment of the people, their health, therefore their ability to spend less time collecting water, more time through education. It's not a one-off process. There's many, many elements being attacked that are currently hindering people, and there's promoting their ability to attend school more often, for women to look after the pickaninny, the children, and to enable people to just be more positive about their roles, their relationships with the members that represent them, when they see that the infrastructure is being implemented, that the resources that the landowners own is actually purchasing something that makes a difference. So I think it's a lot of the mental side of it, as well as the physical side of it, as well as the ability to change the way people live immediately rather than waiting 20 years for roads and power lines.
We'll have more from Dome KRB after the break. In this segment, we find out more about Dome KRB technology and how the company believes in implementing a holistic approach with their projects.
So who's Dome KRB and what is the Cube technology?
Dome KRB is the name of our company. We're a fully economic, holistic development, we call ourselves, as in we're an economic development company. We've moved to Papua New Guinea. I guess we are Australian, but we've been based for several years in America and developed our company skills in America, and then saw the opportunity to come here through local contacts. And what we mean by holistic development is we don't believe in just the infrastructure development. We believe in there's a combination of human development that has to occur for the infrastructure to be useful. roads, bridges, etc. alone won't create prosperity, economic prosperity. It obviously has to involve education, health, and just awareness, people's ability to be proactive in the economy, whether it be through trade, work, or whatever means. So we look at a very broad picture, and then we bring in expertise from around the world that we've sourced or utilised or partnered with. And that led us to come here and develop. In that process, I was at Leia Leia, and in November of 2011, I believe, and I saw for the first time in my life children carrying water from a well that still wasn't even drinkable. It was purely for washing and bathing needs. And I guess that sort of spurred my desire to make a difference. And I knew about reverse osmosis, and I didn't understand why it hadn't been utilised. And I quickly found out, but once we got the technology going and we spent about 1.5 years developing it, that's where we developed the Cube technology, which is currently a world first and patented and trademarked. And the first units are coming here to Papua New Guinea, so we're very, very proud of that. The idea was spawned, obviously, in November 2011. I would say that we started work seriously probably about 4 months later, and then the development phase, investors, the warehouse, the testing, etc., has all been occurring in the last year. It's currently based in Wyoming in America. We have a test facility there. We also have a small test facility on an island called Flinders Island in Bass Strait, which is down near Tasmania in Australia. The reason being that they're both southern and northern hemispheres, and we can test our solar units in the sort of more varying degree of ranges. And then obviously Papua New Guinea being on the equator means that anything that works either in those two climates will work here. So that's why we do that. So far we've been very lucky. We've tried to identify proactive members that were basically receptive. We had a few closed doors at first, but then the member for Kirawina Good Enough, Mr. Douglas Tomarusa, he has been very proactive and had us go out there and scout the islands, look for locations to solve what is quite a dire strait situation for the water of those people. Mr. Sinavin Gisawat, Vice Minister for Education, has also been very proactive and is moving forward with us going up there and scouting the areas for him. We've been very lucky with Mr. Bokakondra, who's not only been proactive in us supplying the cubes, but of course we've developed the most recently filters that will remove heavy metal from water. So in the case of the Fly River that is contaminated, we can actually remove those heavy metals, which is a big deal for us, because a solar powered unit in the middle of nowhere providing clean, safe drinking water plus removing those heavy metals is going to have a huge benefit to those people. So Mr. Kondra's been very proactive. Most importantly though, I'd say right now is Minister Pruach and Executive Director Vari Badira of the Climate Change Office have been very proactive, obviously for the environmental reasons, the climate benefits that are involved with these cubes being solar powered. They've also offered to fund the first unit, which is being delivered to Leia Leia, and that is a huge benefit to us and enables us to hold the opening in a manner that draws attention to it. So we're very grateful to the Office of Climate Change.
So you've talked a lot about what your company does, how it fits into our country's goals. Let's talk about the costs, the reliability of your company in terms of process of deployment, also ongoing costs and maintenance.
All right, the cost, most of these units have some variation in cost purely because we have to test the water, see what it needs. Most of the costs range pretty safely between I say 80,000 kina for the very small refrigeration units, right up to sort of possibly 200,000 for the top of the line solar water units. And when I say cost, I look at it like this: well, that's the same price as a four-wheel drive, and yet at the same time, what's the value of a person's life, child's life? And that's what we're talking about here. I mean, this is a four-wheel drive that can save thousands of people's lives in a village, in a local area. The actual cost of water equates to less than half a toya per litre over a 10-year plus period. So it's cheap, pure water, and not putting it against the relationship of a human life. But it's very hard for someone to say it costs too much when someone's child's dying, is how I look at it. And it's still very cheap by comparison to other techniques out there. As far as implementation, there is a cost associated with once we get it to Port Moresby, where do we go from there? Well, that's why we can't tell you that until we know where it is people want to implement it. But it is designed to be implemented by helicopter or four-wheel drive in the remotest areas. And the ongoing thing, and the one thing we look for support in the local governments, is the need to maintain these. They were designed to be very low maintenance and to be very rugged in their implementation. But the ongoing problem with that is I've seen everywhere in this country good work done by aid agencies and churches where tanks, guttering, roofing's been supplied, and then no follow-up from local government to even maintain it. And then these islands that we went to couldn't collect water, yet they had tanks sitting there because there's no guttering. So in this case, the cubes require only a filter change, the water cubes, only one filter change every 3 months, which we perform with our technicians. Those technicians have flown in from America, taken to the local village, they change the filter, they check the other 3 cubes, the power, the food and the medical, which don't really require any maintenance. And in the process, we start to train the locals in those villages to enable them to be proactive in the maintenance of them. So it's an educational process that helps us educate and employ locals. Our goal would be to have eventually locals throughout the country here who are trained technicians for cubes, so they might not only look after the one in their village, they might look after several in a radius area of their village. So that would be our goal through the employment angle.
All right. So the cubes, can it be utilised when an area is struck by disaster, natural disaster?
Yes, they can. I mean, they were designed for initial setup in remote areas. Then we realised we can build them. So, for example, if we build a full filtration system on the water cube, the other cubes are automatically implemented easily in a disaster situation. So, if a disaster with volcano, earthquake or flood, yes, we could drop them in, produce instant water, instant power, instant food storage and instant medical supplies as fast as we can get a helicopter there if we had them on hold. So that's definitely something we're looking at, and there's been interest from other countries and other departments, from military, etc. However, we've put everyone on hold because we're focused purely on Papua New Guinea for the next 18 months to get this area done properly and bring them in, establish ourselves here rather than spread ourselves too thin. So PNG is the first place in the world that will receive this world first technology.
So where can people find out more information about cube technology?
The easiest way is our website. In this country it's obviously hard with phones and if we're overseas, etc. But at domekrb.com, and if there's several tabs there showing the people the images, explaining it, and our emails are on there, and they simply lodge an email, we will respond, and then see what they need to know from there. And hopefully as people become more aware of the cube technology, the benefits of it, we hope that they empower the people, demand the politicians to be responsive. There's too much need, too many people suffering in this country. There's a country full of resources and money, opportunity. There's a demand for the people to have such basic and should be affordable qualities of life. And for the first time in a long time, there's now a company in the form of ours that provides the capacity. So the politicians just have to be proactive and find the money to make it available to the people they represent, and I encourage them to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper, for your time.
Thank you.
This brings us to the end of another edition of Resource PNG. For any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. Or to find out more, check MTV online, that's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Until the same time next week, good night.